Hello everybody, welcome to, let's just wait a little minute. Hello everybody, welcome to the extremely high visual quality Jimmy and Lou's Tech Q&A, not sponsored by CoinGeek. Let's just wait a few minutes with the title screen here, just to get some more viewers. Quite an ingenious device I made with a pen, because I didn't have any sellotape. So I made a pen so I can hold the title screen up here. Smartest minds in BSV, obviously. And also I'm going to touch on some of the latest news about Craig. Just some things why I said I think he's trying to convince us all that he's fake Toshi. He's doing like some massive 47D chess thing. So here we are with the titles. Okay, so let's go. Good morning. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I hope you enjoyed the high quality intro there. Okay, so let me load up what I did yesterday. I'd like to apologize to anybody who tuned into the stream yesterday. Basically, I had to leave because something happened in real life, and I couldn't start the stream. Thankfully it happened just before I started the stream rather than just after I started the stream, because that would have been annoying. So what I did, I left the live feed running and just to really record all your questions. I didn't really know if I'd be back in an hour or so, but eventually I realized, you know, I ain't gonna be back on that live stream, so I shut it down. But before I did that, I copied everyone's questions from the troll box. So first, I'd like to go through those questions, and if anybody else has any questions, feel free to comment in the troll box. So let me load up my notepad. Okay, so this is one that's going to take a little while to explain, but I'm happy to explain it. Andreas Olivas, hi Andreas. I'm not sure if you're awake now, but hopefully you'll listen to your question being answered later. If someone has 500 BSV, what's the best way to store them? Best way to split them in different wallets, etc.? Question mark. Best increments? Question mark. As the price moves, I'm sure this will be more relevant. Good question. We often hear about things like, keep answering the question, guys, in the troll box. I'm going to go and address those after I've addressed all these other questions that were asked yesterday. I think that's the fair way to do things. And maybe you've got a question that I'm going to answer now anyway. So yeah, 500 BSV, how do you securely store it? Well, there's a few things here. Firstly, you can store it on, you know, you've got to find your storage device, or like I do, paper wallet for the win, or you can use a sort of like a paper wallet, but you're stamping stuff with, you're stamping metal if you're really paranoid. So if your house burns down, the idea is you'll find some burnt out metal plate that you'll still be able to read your private keys from. So basically, I'm not really going to touch that, because everyone, you know, some people even use like Simply Cash to store it. I guess as long as you've got the seed words written down, then any sort of storage on an electronic device is okay. Certainly not hand cash, because hand cash, you don't own half the keys, even though it's a non-custodial wallet, because nobody has custody of it. Literally nobody has custody of it. It's not a self-custody wallet like Simply Cash or Centbee. But the problem with Centbee or Simply Cash or any sort of wallet that has what they call a seed, no, it's not a problem really. So yeah, what you can do is you can print, say, 10 paper wallets. Why do I say 10? Why do I not say 1? Well, this guy's speaking about 500 BSV, Andreas' question. So if you had one paper wallet, or you used Simply Cash, or you used CentB, or you used Electrum SV, say on your computer, and afterwards you deleted the installation or you delete the data files and you wrote down the seed, so that'd be a way of getting access to your funds again. Remember, you can always write down the public keys, and you can always keep track of what you've got just by looking at the public keys, and that's pretty safe to store, say, in your drawer or something, a list of your public keys. But anyway, if you had, say, one wallet, what people would see on the blockchain is they would see you sending 500 BSV to one address. So it's a big alert out there. There's one address that's got 500 BSV. Now, people say at some point people are going to start being able to hack Bitcoin addresses. I don't think for a few hundred years, but say if they did, obviously the first wallets they would go after would be the ones with the high amounts. So just from a point of view of not being such a big target on the blockchain, you're best to split that into, say, 10 wallets or 10 addresses from one seed, or 10 paper wallets, or however you want to generate it. Now, also, of course, on Bitcoin SV, because it's really cheap fees, and I suppose you could do the same thing on Bcash as well, to be fair. Certainly not on SegShip, the crippled BTC network. There's a few ways to do this, but this is just some advice. Number one, say you've got 10 addresses and you've got 500 BSV to hide. Don't send 50 BSV to each address. Why? Because it's kind of like obvious that anyone looking at the chain of transactions would see, it would look too obvious that somebody was stashing 10 wallets of 50 BSV. Now, if you look at how transactions work, let's ignore the minor fees just to keep things simple. What you have for transactions is you have what are called inputs and what are called outputs. So you could do it in one transaction. You could have 500 BSV input and 10 different one input of 500 BSV, or the UTXOs, which accumulate to 500 BSV. I mean, it doesn't really matter about that side. And on the outputs, you could have literally 10 different outputs of 50 BSV to each one. That's dumb because that's obviously somebody split into 10. So what you could say next is, okay, well, let's go a bit further. Rather than split to 10 or 50, let's choose a random amount of Satoshis, so it doesn't even look like a whole number in Bitcoin. Let's choose a random amount of Satoshis for the 10 addresses. So you can open up an Excel, you can start typing in any random number and just tune the numbers until you've got a total of 500 BSV. And then just do one transaction, sending from the 500 BSV to 10 different things. So you could have, I'm going to keep it simple, I'm going to use whole numbers here. You could have 100, you could have 75, you could have 15, 25, but basically all the 10 addresses, it would add up to the same 500 BSV. And like I said, note in your public keys, your public addresses, sorry, you can go and look and see how much is in each one. So if you need to spend 10 Bitcoin, you go and look at maybe the one that's got the lowest amount and spend that, and send the rest to your hot wallet. But even better than that is, especially on Bitcoin, is it would still look kind of weird, somebody seeing a transaction on the blockchain with 500 Bitcoin input and 10 different outputs. It looks like someone sending money to a lot of places. It's pretty good because nobody can see that it's all coming to you. But the best thing you could do really is do a chain of transactions. So if you imagine, let's go back to the older example because it's more simple than numbers. But obviously mixing the combinations, what I said, one, random amounts that add up to 500, but also do the chaining, which I'll explain using non-random amounts because it's easier, the math right now. Say, for example, you start with your 500 BSV. This is ignoring mining fees, so you obviously have to take the mining fees into account, which will be a few cents. You start with 500 BSV, maybe you send that to two different outputs, one having 300 BSV and one having 200 BSV. Okay. Now, what that would look like to a person looking at the chain is that you've either spent 300 BSV on something or sent 300 BSV to someone, or you've spent 200 BSV on something or sent 200 BSV to someone. And the difference of the other 300 or the other 200 is change going back to yourself. That's what it will look like. So you could say, okay, well, this person had 500 BSV. Now I know they've either got 200 or 300. That's what somebody would think looking at the chain. But what you could then do, so you've got both of them. You've got the 200 and the 300. What you've got now is two UTXOs. But what you could then do is then send from the one that's got 200 BSV. You could do that to 5 wallets, 40 BSV each, or you could do another chain. You could do like 80 and 120. I mean, the more chains you do, the more you're obfuscating, hiding exactly how much you've got and everything. So the idea would be to chain, to make up some sort of chain of transactions. Basically, you can do it on paper, write it down, allow a little bit for the minor fees, of course. So send a little bit more than you need to send to the other addresses. So it doesn't really matter because, if you're holding 500 BSV, and also could to do with the, I said it's best to do random amounts of Satoshis as well. So, I mean, it's not even 500. It's like, if you're sending 10 BSV, you could send 1,000 million Satoshis, or you could send 998 million Satoshis, or 998,253,792, or whatever, so that it looks really random. So nobody can really follow what you're doing. It looks like you've sent your money to something and they've sent it somewhere else, and it's all really you. You're basically doing something like it's not the same, but you could consider it something like a coin shuffle or something, or a cash shuffle, but only with yourself. So if you've got clean money from a clean KYC exchange, you're not mixing it in with any pedo money or anything, or any dirty money. So that's basically how I would do it, Andreas, if I had to store 500 Bitcoins offline. The way to do it from a security point of view, because remember, there's always the $5 wrench attack, and if anyone's got any idea that you've got 500 BSV, then they can come at you with a wrench for $5 and probably get access. However, whatever security you've got, also having multiple wallets in multiple places means at the end of the day, if you've got a wrench to your head, then you can probably give one of them away, the one with the lowest amount. So it's all about OPSEC, and it's all about obfuscating. Sorry, what you've got, so people can't even follow it on the chain. Anyway, let's go on to the next question. I think that's answered Andreas's. Oh yes, and Glaus Vieira, I think, says to Andreas, check out a new concept for cold wallets, Ghost Wallet, on the SendB Telegram group. So yeah, anyone who wants to check that out, I'm not sure what it is. It's probably something similar, a way of mixing wallets and stuff like I've just explained, but automatically. I'm sure smart people will come out with the tools to do this anyway soon. It's a question of trusting those tools. So always be careful of any tools that handle large amounts of Bitcoin, because there's a lot of scammy things out there that can steal your money. SendB obviously isn't. SendB's a great wallet, but just be careful if you're looking for any other sorts of solutions. And if you're a coder, it's not that hard really to code it up yourself, a custom solution. Okay, noob question, says Joey D33. Which is worse, USDC, that's USD coin, I think it's called, or USDT, Tether? And Core answers Tether. USDC is regulated as far as I know, he says. Yeah, I think he's kind of right. Obviously, none of them are the same as USD. Tether has got a more scammy reputation, but USDC is still a crypto scambling market coin. it's kind of like Coinbase's version of Tether. So I think Poloniex, always used to be called Circle, got involved making USDC as well. So, you know, always be careful on exchanges. That's all I can say. You know, but if any of them's going to fall first, I guess it would be Tether. Tether have got legal problems, I believe, and you know, there's a lot of shit going on there. So, you know, that's why on some exchanges you see both offered. I mean, because you can even exchange USDC for USDT and vice versa. So, you know, always be careful on exchanges. Joey D again asks, why is it taking 7 hours to transfer my 70 BSV from Handcash app to Poloniex? And core answers, it takes 36 confirmations. Yeah. So you send your, it's nothing to do with BSV or the Bitcoin network. It's nothing to do with Handcash. People basically, I think, are accustomed to, if I send somebody money in Handcash, within a few seconds they receive it. Well, they actually don't until it's confirmed in the blockchain. But from a UX point of view, they see it as confirmed. I'd like to see what happens if there was a double spend. I'm guessing that the money would disappear from the receiver's Handcash, or if there was a reorg and it got in the next block, it would kind of change or something. And so the exchanges, they don't like to run the risk right now anyway. Maybe as we get stuff like miner IDs and things, and miners are punished not only on a technical level, but they're also maybe punished on the legal level for trying to take part in fraud involving double spends and stuff. Maybe you could see exchanges offering deposits zero conf on Bitcoin, BSV. But right now, exchanges kind of like fed out. And so Poloniex takes 36 confirmations, which means it's a block every 10 minutes on average. That's 360 minutes, which is 6 hours. So at least they've taken 7 hours. It must have been a minor variance. Took a bit longer than 10 minutes on average per block. Okay, so other exchanges, well, a lot of exchanges don't support Bitcoin SV, which is a shame, but you know, like Binance and stuff, but fuck you, Binance, CZ. And other exchanges might take less confirmations. You know, it's nerve-wracking, especially, I don't know, like in the recent few days, maybe some people have been collecting BSV, been following the correct advice. Always try and store your Bitcoin yourself on your own wallet, because unless we're talking about Handcash, not your keys, not your Bitcoin, then a big price pump comes in, or a big price rise. People think, hang about, you know, I want to sell some of these off, and you know, it can take 36 confirmations to send them to the exchange, and by the time they're on the exchange, maybe the price has dropped, or maybe, as in the case of somebody that I know, they were going to sell their BSV, they sent it to the exchange because of the confirmations, because they actually had to wait. By the time it got to the exchange, they sold it higher than they would have done, which was lucky for them. You know, but you know, if you don't want to wait for confirmations, then you need to, unfortunately, you need to keep your Bitcoin on the exchange, which itself runs a hell of a lot of risks. So it's all about risk reward. It's all about how much risk you're willing to take, really, like anything. Joey D asks, which is the cheapest, best exchange for UK, EU people? To be honest, I don't know, because there is quite a few variables just choosing an exchange. One of them first is, do you trust the exchange, or how would you trust the exchange compared to others? Cheapest, define cheapest, I mean, because lowest fees, but you might have an exchange with really crappy volume and low fees. I mean, I think some people as well confuse exchanges for what they call places where you just buy, brokers. Sometimes people confuse exchanges for brokers. A broker really is something simple where you say, I want to buy this amount of Bitcoin, or I want to spend this much money on Bitcoin. buy, enter, and that's it. You know, you've bought it for whatever price, and that's a marked up price, because what the broker actually does, unless they're holding a hell of a lot amount of Bitcoin, is they go and do the buy on the exchange for you, which the price can change during the moment that they offer you the price and they buy it. So that's why they charge a higher markup, and also because it's simpler. A lot of people don't understand exchanges. It's scary looking at these green and red candles, but the best place to get any crypto is actually on an exchange, and trying to buy it when the candles not when the candle's green at the top, when it starts to drop or when it's dropped. It's all a game in itself. If everybody knew exactly when to buy and sell, you'd be a super rich trader. Shadowban says, so really, I don't really want to recommend an exchange. Obviously, there are some exchanges for UK and EU people. I think most of the exchanges in the world, really, I think it really is the US people who have the problems of being able to use a lot of exchanges due to the stricter financial regulations. Also, you've got to bear in mind exchange rates and dollars, and most people use dollars, but in the UK, some exchanges will be offering in pounds. I mean, to say what is the best exchange, it really, unless some exchange wants to pay me $100,000 a year to shield for them, which I'd be happy to do, like McCormack, then I'm not really going to give you the best exchange. Google it, find out. First go and look at CoinMarketCap, find out what exchanges actually use Bitcoin SV, and you can look at the volume, sort by volume, so you see which of the exchanges with a lot of volume, because it's nice to have an exchange with a lot of volume. And I think a lot of them are like Japanese, Chinese, Korean. Maybe you can find that, but you said for UK, EU people, you take your risk, basically. I certainly would rather be, if there's problems, I'd certainly rather be have problems with an exchange, at least based in Europe, ideally an exchange that was natively English language, than some exchange in Korea or China. But unfortunately for BSV, that's where a lot of the action is. So, I'm not going to recommend an exchange. Other people might in the trial box if they want. Okay. Shadowband asks, your SV prediction, he put it in quotes, would be interesting. I don't know what that means, because what does it mean? The price, the future? I think Craig Wright said that Craig Wright said that there's a 10% chance that crypto can succeed in the future, even if he is Satoshi and Bitcoin is BSV and all this stuff. So long-term prediction, there's a 10% chance that it can succeed. Otherwise, fiat currency is going to win and keep winning. Certainly, we need to get all these crypto wars over. We need to become the #1 dominant coin for having a chance of taking on fiat. Or maybe we do, like I said before, the Sly thing, and we get fiat running on our chain first. The US dollar becomes something tokenized on the Bitcoin chain. So yeah, prediction, I don't really know what it means. I'm not going to make any price predictions. I'm not going to make any core predictions. So, Shadowband asked, Craig Wright versus Hodlnaut, defamation lawsuit thrown out, apparently. Yeah, it was thrown out, which is not the same as losing, even though I guess Craig's lost a bit of money again on lawyers. This is a similar thing to what happened with Roger Ver. They said that it was not the jurisdiction of the court in England, in the UK, which basically means that I think it's from Scandinavia. I can't remember if it's Sweden, Denmark. But if Craig wants to go and sue this guy, go and sue him in his home country, because it's not really anything to do with the court of England and Wales, which is not the same as the UK. That's how legally it works. Scotland's got its own legal system. Similar thing happened with Roger Ver. Craig tried to sue Roger Ver, and they said no. So I guess Craig was going to have to do it in the USA, maybe, or in Japan, or maybe in St. Kitts and Nevis. But I think Roger's quite a king in St. Kitts and Nevis, so that probably wouldn't be a good idea. Maybe Japan would be better, especially because there's like a whole moral thing in Japan. But Craig did go to the court for permission to appeal that decision, and it's been granted. So now Craig gets another chance to try and present his case as to why he should be able to sue Roger Ver in the Court of England. And there's a lot to do, I think, with the audience. So if you defame somebody, where the audience, the people most likely to have seen those words, would be from. I think you can look at the stats. You could say Roger Ver is heavily connected with Bitcoin.com or the Bitcoin.com YouTube channel, and you can see, looking at the stats, there are I think the heaviest users are from the USA, but there are quite a lot of users and viewers from the UK. So Craig's argument could be that quite a lot of people from the UK saw that supposed libel against him. So, we'll see what happens, but he certainly hasn't lost against Roger Ver. It's like it's not started. It's like a football match. Tried to organise a football match with Roger Ver. Tried to organise a football match with Hoddernaut, and the football match was cancelled. It wasn't like anybody won or lost, but Craig paid the organising fees, or the attempt to organise it. So we got kind of screwed financially a little bit. Okay. I'm hearing, okay, I've got this. And also Don Fredrickson asked, was the libel Twitter based regarding Hoddernaut? Yeah, it was. Hoddernaut, he said quite a few things on Twitter, which later led to McCormack to join in, saying he was defending Hoddernaut, not like McCormack was trying to become a much bigger player in the space by creating his own scandal and getting involved directly with Craig. Not at all. He didn't do it for views. He did it because he's a really nice moral guy, McCormack. Yeah, right. Okay. So Tony M asks, how will CSW move Satoshi's coins? I just heard another YouTube channel say he wouldn't do it on BTC chain. He would do it on BSV through a hard fork. Does that mean a new coin is coming in February? Okay, quite a few things here. Number one, there's not a new coin coming in February. It's a hard fork, or as we like to call it now, a planned upgrade. Basically, the miners are all going to be using the new version of the protocol, Genesis, the new version of the node software. So they'll be mining blocks which have transactions which won't be compatible with the old version. Now, you'd be a pretty stupid miner to mine the old version, because that ain't going to be worth anything. You might see some FUD from BitMEX. You might see some sort of stupid FUD attack to try and spread a FUD narrative. They might keep a few blocks. They might mine a few blocks on the old thing, saying, look, BSV has split, but rest assured that that won't go on for long. And a similar thing happened with Bcash, actually, doing Bcash's last hard fork. It split for a while, and the official story was some miner forgot to update his software. And actually, I think they went like 20 or 30 blocks mining the old Bitcoin Cash before the hard fork. But eventually that died, so there was no monetary value. So that, no, there is no new coin coming. All there is the Genesis upgrade. Okay. How will CSW move Satoshi's coins? Well, let's have a look at BSV first, because Craig's quite an influence in BSV. Number one, you can of course always move them if he has the private keys. If he controls the private keys. I mean, he could get Shadows to do it, or he could probably do it himself, I guess. He can code, despite what the people think. He's not the best coder in the world, but he can code, and this is not rocket science stuff. He could write a script to go and move all of his coins with all the private keys. Or he could do it manually, I guess. We could pay somebody to do it manually, or you could get Shadows to do it if he trusted Shadows. So yeah, if he's got the private keys, he can move the coins, or he doesn't have to move the coins. Just to prove that he's got the private keys, he could sign a message for each key, you know. With each key, he could sign a message saying, I'm Craig Wright, I'm Craig Wright, I'm Craig Wright. So that doesn't mean that he's Satoshi. What it means is that he's got Satoshi's keys, of course. Now, this is where we start to get murky. The other way you could do it is court of law could say, okay, I'm guessing a court from a legally, how can I say it, a legally renowned country, let's say, like maybe the USA. You can look at the Epstein trial or whatever, but let's ignore that. Say the USA or France or the UK, not some banana republic. Say some court saying, yeah, this guy is Satoshi, we found that he's Satoshi. Then he goes and does a court order on the miners saying, yeah, the dog ain't my keys, but I'm Satoshi, the court's proving it. There's basically a hard fork in the code, something changed to move those coins without the private key. My favorite scenario is that he wins in court and the court finds him Satoshi and then and makes an order to move the keys, and then he says, LOL, I don't really need to use this court order. I just wanted to prove that I was Satoshi in court. Now I'm going to use my private keys. That's my favorite scenario. I always wished it would play out, but you know, the longer this goes on, the more I doubt that. This is on the BSV chain. So what could also happen is he could reach out to all the people in BSV and say, look, come on guys, you love me, I'm Satoshi, you all know I'm Satoshi. I propose a hard fork where I get all the keys. Now, who knows how many people in the BSV society would go along with that, or who knows how people could say, no, you can't do that. I guess there could be legal challenges from people saying, you know, no, you can't do this. It could be interesting, be very weak in my opinion, but that could happen as well. Good BSV, let's say, is a friendly chain to Craig Wright. Now, on the BTC side and the Bcash side, basically the private key scenario can happen, or the court order thing can happen. Not the they're not going to say, okay, Craig, yeah, we believe you. We're going to let you hard fork and give yourself the keys. No, that won't happen on BTC or Bcash. And a lot of people think that the court order thing won't happen because they say, well, if the court ordered the miners to do that, to allow him to receive the coins without the private keys, that they would just fork, and that version would not be the real Bcash, or that version would not be the real BTC. Problem is, in this massive world of exchanges and everything, and all this institutional money that especially BTC say they enjoy, do you really think that the Gemini twins are going to say, fuck it, yeah, fuck you, court, Gemini is not going to be following the court-ordered version of BTC. We're going to follow the neckbeard version. And do you think the big mining facilities under threat of being closed down or shut are going to say, yeah, you know, we're going to follow the neckbeard version? No, I think most people, maybe Bcash would have a better chance because they're smaller, they're more anarchy, but I certainly think the BTC side, whether they liked it or not, the coin that the big exchanges would follow, the coin that all the crypto media would follow, would be the coin where the court ordered Craig gets the keys. The other thing would be some sort of neckbeard hobbyist thing, probably ran by Luke Dash Jr., where eventually I guess they'd be mining with graphics cards. But what value would that coin have? I mean, they say it's a store of values, so you would see a massive drop. Both, you'd see a drop on the official BTC, the court-ordered one, and you'd see the basically drop into not a lot of value at all on the neckbeard version. You know, so it would be a massive shitstorm. Whatever happens, if ever a court-ordered that to happen, you know, it would cause so many questions in crypto, so many problems. So it'd be interesting. Okay, Cincinnati Jack says, here's my question. Why does the cat we hear in the background have yet to make an appearance? That cat will make an appearance as soon as Satoshi signs, or as soon as Craig signs some sort of message using one of the keys, I promise that my cat will make an appearance on the live stream. A very technical question, he said. JDC says, Jim, are you still angry with CSW? I think he's referring when I said, like, you know, I think Craig should apologise for we call them Aspergerings, or talking bullshit on Slack, saying stuff like, well, everyone grabbed onto the 1,200 end of year one, but that wasn't the big one. Everyone grabbed onto that because it's easy to say, well, you know, Craig just got carried away and made a silly price prediction. And then people are saying Chinese end of year and all this stuff. That wasn't the big one. I mean, because anybody with a bit of enthusiasm can make a stupid price prediction. And why, even if Craig is Satoshi, mathematical genius, crypto genius, what the hell would he know back in January about what the price would be in 12 months? You know, to sort of any sort of degree, you know? And what would any trader know? Nobody can predict, be honest, everybody, nobody can predict 24 hours in crypto, let alone 365 days. But he did say stuff as well, like the BTC, there was a SegWit floor that was going to be destroyed, and BTC wouldn't exist at the end of 2019. So, you know, there are quite a few other things which, you know, I guess for PR reasons, people don't really want to talk about that subject. Why hasn't the SegWit floor happened, for instance? Excuse me. So angry with him, not angry with him. I just think, you know, the guy could apologise. I'm more angry with the BSV community for just like allowing it to float over their heads. And, you know, everything's okay. And people thinking that, you know, this whole promise of MetaNet, where the promise is you pay for content and you get good content, you don't get trolling, you don't get shitty content and misinformation. Well, people are paying to read these Slack messages of Craig. So this is actually, even though it's not actually using the MetaNet protocol, if you like, it is kind of like, you know, this is one of our leaders showing that if you pay for his content, some of the times you're paying for bullshit, to put it bluntly. So it doesn't look very good. So, you know, and it's not Craig's fault, because if Craig has Asperger's syndrome and all this stuff, then yeah, he can say some stuff that doesn't make sense, or that nobody would really want to say normally, especially not in his position, because he's heavily followed. But you know, we certainly shouldn't be pretending like everything's okay, you know, because it's not. Because this reflects on our future promise of MetaNet. Cincinnati Jack's not a question. He said we should set up an arm wrestling match between Jim and CSW, do it live on Streamanity, all proceeds to charity. Whatever, I'm game. Chance to, I'll be like this doing an arm wrestle, but it'll be a chance to kind of like shake Craig's hand. So yeah, I'm game for that. Okay, so that's the all the questions from yesterday's live stream answered. I'm now going to go and open the troll box. I've not even looked at the troll box yet for this live stream now. And let's see if I can spot any more questions. Okay, Roberto Gobbo says, where is BMG pool hash power? Well, nobody really knows. The hash power changes between the three chains, but it should do for any miner trying to maximize profitability. A miner can tag, it's like tagging, it's called the coin text, the Coinbase. You can tag it as, you know, I am CoinGeek, this is my block, or he can make that invisible, so nobody knows who it is. So he's an unknown miner, as you see it appear often, unknown miners on the coin dance. Or in theory, he could pretend to be another miner, but that other miner might pick up on it and say, you know, who the hell's mining pretending to be me? But that could happen as well in theory. People forget that. It's just a piece of coin text. So this is why on the BSV side, people like the idea of miner ID. Now, some people are trying to freak everybody out, saying miner ID is like a registration scheme where it's going to be controlled by N-Chain or Craig Wright, and unless they tick a box, you're not going to be able to mine. That's bullshit. Miner ID is basically another public and private key. It's just a way of a miner being able to say, this is my public identity. I am Jim Miner. And I can prove that by every communication that you have with me, whether it's me signing a block saying I mine this, I signed it with my private key, or if you connect to my node, I send you a message verifying that this node is mine by signing it with my private key. Or if you send me an email, hey, are you Jim, the guy who runs Jim Miner? I could reply to you, signing it with my private key, saying yes, I am. And now knowing that you would see that, and you would see my public key. It was signed, it was correct, and then you can even go and look how many blocks I've made. Say, okay, Jim Miner, oh look, he's mined 10% of the blocks in the last month, so he's quite a big miner. So that's how it works. So that's how it's useful, and also that, from what I said earlier about double spends and zero conf, it can make it a lot safer if you can see like a miner has no history of ever allowing a double spend. Basically, generally the idea would be they accept the first transaction, from an address, which means that even if another one comes in with a higher fee or whatever, they're going to ignore it because they don't want to be on the I'm a naughty miner who allowed a double spend transaction, whether he did it by being in coercion with the other mine, with whoever was double spending, or whether he did it just for greed because it had a higher fee. Miners have got to learn to accept and to put into the block the first transmitted transaction. And in the case of where a transaction appears, double spend appears like a few milliseconds or maybe at the same time even from the same wallet, then miners probably should reject both of them, because nobody can really say which one came first. So this is all sorts of things that miners have to get involved in, and that miner ID helps with. Okay, thanks Chris Naz. He says, I'm sharing gold dust, listen and learn. Davis, okay, he's split glycerin into many wallets. Jingles is here. Hi Jingles, you BTC tard. He's calling us beavers. USDC is JP Morgan, right? Is it? I thought it was Coinbase. Who knows? Why do you need to divide it into more wallets? That's Carbon Craft. Well, I explained why, because one, for not being able to trace it on the blockchain so easily, that this address has this amount of money. Also for security. I mean, if you've got 10 family members, you don't really have to trust them, because you could have a password as well. If you do a printed wallet, you can password it as well. So you keep the password in your head. Maybe you give the password to your partner, so that if you die or something, they can still do it. And then you can have in 10 different family members' houses 10 different wallets. So to steal all your money, or to get your money, all 10 family members, or to lose your money, all 10 family members' houses would have to burn down at the same time, as well as your house. So but also be careful with that, because sometimes families fall out and stuff, and sometimes people lose things. So you always be careful. But the idea is spreading the not only hiding what you're sending on the chain, especially by chaining the transactions, by obfuscating what you're doing. Also, the idea is eventually you have, say, 10 wallets, so you're spreading that risk, if you like. And also, again, if some point in the future some hack happens where somehow magically people can reverse Bitcoin keys, which wouldn't just affect BSV, it would affect BTC and Bcash as well. You've probably got time to get out, or maybe your wallets are not even targeted because you're split. There's less money in each one. Okay, let's carry on. Jingles says, interested in USDT in the top 10 marketplace for SV. Yeah, that's because a lot of the exchanges they don't really have USD deposits. You cannot really deposit USD. So, somebody can go and have a look how many the top market price pairs for BTC. Davis says these fuckers have made every on and off ramp for BSV is a pain in the ass. This is your sign that BSV is real. It's the real Bitcoin, I guess it means. Yeah, there is the whole conspiracy element thing where, mainstream media is fully behind BTC. You've got all these idiots like Max Kaiser shilling BTC, shilling the Lightning Network. People have accepted the narrative that Bitcoin is BTC. Not even arguing that maybe it could be Bitcoin Cash, or maybe, as a lot of us believe, it is BSV. It's kind of like, has it been taken over by the bank as BTC? Has Bcash been taken over as well? Or is it just small blockers who enjoy Bcash these days? And BSV, because it's the underdog, is that because it's the deep state or whatever? Who knows? But yeah, it could just be because these exchanges don't want to get involved with BSV. There was, I think a lot of it had to do with the Hodl thing, where when Craig started to sue Hodl, the exchanges said, hey, we can't stand for this. That's when they started their whole delist BSV campaign. But that's failed spectacularly, really, because it made it so that the price of BSV, I guess, is more able to pump and dump, or more easy to manipulate, let's say, because it's on less exchanges. It'd be nice to see it on a big exchange where there's a hell of a lot of volume, somewhere like Binance or Coinbase even. But will that happen? I think if the court thing is going Craig's favour, or if he does or he does some sort of private key signing thing, or if we just get up high in value, maybe we reach number 2 on CoinMarketCap. How long will these exchanges ignore the profits they can make? I mean, they must realise that just over the last few days, whether the price is going up or whether the price is going down, as it is now with BSV, they've lost out on a hell of a lot of money, because a hell of a lot of people were sending their money off these exchanges and moving them to these other ones that do support BSV. So they benefited from the trading fees. So, it's interesting how much they could have won, because I'm sure that had BSV been available on Coinbase, been available on Binance, the price of BSV would have shot up a hell of a lot more, purely because people would have found it easier to actually go and buy it. And you could even argue that now maybe our price would be a lot higher. But then you've got the other side saying it's easier to manipulate on less exchanges. So who really knows? So yeah, it's a complicated one. Carbon Craft asks, isn't one wallet safe enough? Well, it all depends how many BSV you want to store, what your risk level is. I mean, yeah, it's the easiest one wallet. Yeah, Davis basically said one wallet is safe enough if you have small amounts and BSV's current price. Bitcoin SV channel says, make us feel good, Jimmy. Hi, Captain. Make you feel good. Well, all I can do is tell the truth, or what I think is the truth, or what I think is worth discussing. For everything I say, for every time I make somebody from Bitcoin BSV enjoy it, maybe somebody from Bcash or BTC doesn't like it so much. But obviously, if I say something that might upset somebody from Bitcoin SV, that's probably the Bcashes and BTC tags would enjoy it. But I'm not here to put out a propaganda message. I'm here to just ask questions that nobody else is really asking, or everybody else is scared to ask. I mean, this is my title introduction. Not sponsored by CoinGeek. So that's all I can really do. I don't really give a fuck about being anybody in the BSV. I'm a media person. Circle jerk. My production costs are low. a webcam and a notebook with a shitty microphone. You know, I'm just doing this just to try and support Bitcoin and to try and support the supporters of Bitcoin, which I think is important, because say there is a 1% chance that Craig isn't Satoshi. All these people who have been supporting this idea, that means watching me on your show, watching BSV train and all this stuff. All that support is people believing that, well, not all of them, because there are people who think it's fake Toshi, but they love BSV for the tech. There are people who don't care about Craig, of course, who just like the tech and the protocol. Amazing. They're my favorite sort of people. But there are a lot of others who, you know, think Craig Satoshi, and say if he wasn't, then we need to support them, because they're the ones who are ultimately supporting us. They're supporting BSV, they're supporting the channels. So I think it's a good outlet to have for people to ask uncomfortable questions and try and get them answered, because I'm comfortable answering anything. I don't give a shit. Yeah, Davies again is saying, but if it goes up significantly, it becomes an attack vector. Yeah, so if you've got like, always keep watch of your wallets. If you've got one BSV, if you've got 10 BSV now, and you think, okay, well, I'm going to split them into 10 wallets of one BSV each. If it ever moons to $1 million, remember you've now got 10 wallets for $1 million each. So be careful. Think of the future price as well. It's better, you know. I think we're always going to see micro-cent transactions. So, you know, it's probably best to err on the side of, well, you know, what happens in the next... You don't want to be doing this sort of thing every 6 months, because, again, that kind of ruins, you know, it makes a lot of work for you, and it kind of ruins what you're trying to achieve. Even though you could argue that doing it every 6 months, especially if you do it the same way, random amounts, random splits, long chains, different lengths, you know, it probably mixes it all up even more on the chains. People can't follow it. But certainly think, you know, if I don't know, if the price of BSV rises by 10 times in the next 5 years, am I going to be happy having this amount in each wallet? And if you're not going to be, then make 20 wallets, you know, 30 wallets, you know, whatever your risk level is. Remember, if you've got it spread out between your family members, or, you know, whatever, then think about, you know, you don't be bothering them every 6 months, telling them, hey, look, that thing I told you 6 months ago that you have to guard with your life, throw it away, it's rubbish now, here's a new one, you know, because they're just going to get confused, and you're just maybe going to make, you know, they're going to think that these pieces of paper or whatever you're giving them, they're not really worth anything, you know, so that could have negative effects as well. Okay. David says BitREX has been working for me. I think that's the idea for recommending an exchange. James says CoinEx is decent, but not sure as it's BCH exchange. Float SV works fine. I'm based in Europe. Yeah, Float SV is a native BSV exchange. So if you want to support BSV, I'm not sure of the prices, the fees. I'm not sure of the liquidity on that exchange. But if you want to support BSV, then maybe the best exchange to use would be Float SV, because, you know, that's a exchange that I think it started when CZ from Binance said, you know, delist BSV, and Binance delisted those, and all these things happened. Float SV actually stood and said, screw you guys, we're starting an exchange for BSV, and they were like one of the first ones. So if you think good for BSV is supporting a BSV exchange, then yeah, Float SV. Klaus Vieira says BC Bitcoin buy sell exchange. BC Bitcoin, I think, with the guys on Captain Bitcoin showed the other day, I didn't see an exchange there. What I saw was a broker, which is, as I said earlier, it's different. A broker is like a dumb man's exchange, if you like. It's a simple place where you'd send your grandmother to go and buy BSV. You know, just hit the, how many do you want, or how much do you want to spend? Hit the button, it's yours. Whereas an exchange is your green and red candles and all of that, which is going to confuse granny. So, you know, first think whether you're comfortable with an exchange or whether you're happy with a broker. You know, if you're happy with a broker, like Coinbase is a broker, Coinbase Pro or they used to call themselves GDAX or something, I can't remember. That was like the trading side. But always it would be more expensive to buy from Coinbase, the broker side. But people pay for ease, don't they? For ease of use, for simple things. Chris Nash says, I don't see any of these questions here in the chat box. Where are you reading them from? Yeah, yesterday I was going to start a live stream. I didn't start it and people chatted there in the troll box, so I copied and pasted it into Notepad before I deleted the stream, and then I've just been reading them from Notepad. Now I'm going through the questions here. Do you think he should pursue or move on? This is whatever I was talking about earlier. Probably, yeah. I don't know what you're talking about now. I wasn't reading this troll box when I was talking earlier. Okay, yeah. Galaus is saying, just remember Shen did a video of BC Bitcoin recently. It was excellent with step-by-step info. Yeah, so that's what I said. They were on the show. Go and check them out. Check out their prices. I think their prices are. They don't hide the prices. So always when trying to compare exchanges or an exchange and a broker, think about how much it costs to enter the trade. Think about credit card processing costs, or all these sorts of costs that a lot of them don't account for. I think the nice thing about a broker is that it's all there, and it should all be there. If you're checking another broker, make sure that you're seeing all the fees that you're going to pay. You could even, I guess, say you want to spend $50,000 on buying some Bitcoin, go to a few exchanges and spend $50 on each one first. A few exchanges, a few brokers, and see what they charge you, and see how their customer service is like. See, because if you want to put $50,000 somewhere, it's a different ball game, isn't it? So suss them out yourself. See which ones offer you the sort of service and price that you want. Okay. Showbone says, in Craig's book, he says that he is 90% Satoshi. Okay. Yeah. I think that means it's like people argue that you're thinking, what? He's either Satoshi or he isn't. Now, I think what he means by that is Satoshi to us is all the early Bitcoin code released. That's his proof of work, Satoshi Nakamoto, plus the posts and stuff on Usenet, the white paper, the posts on Bitcoin Talk. They are the proof of work of Satoshi Nakamoto. But how do we know it is one person? It can be multiple people using the same account. There could have been one Satoshi Nakamoto on Bitcoin Talk, another one who did the coding. There could have been 4 doing the code, but whatever. Craig's basically saying that 90% of the work was him. And someone here, I've not read the book, but someone here says 10% was checking code and exchanging ideas. I think I heard him saying. So, he probably did all the posts and all the other things. And they said 10% was checking code and ideas and stuff from somebody else. I would like BSV devs, I guess it means devs, to create a GPU mineable token that's connected to SV. That wouldn't make sense. Why would you dedicate electricity and resources to mine using a graphics card when that same electricity and resources could just increase the security of the SV chain by mining using an ASIC and mining on the SV chain? Why would you have a GPU mineable token? Why not just have a token on the SV chain? Lawyer said package from bonded courier didn't contain keys. We'll get into that in a minute. Lawyers don't talk about cases. Again, we'll get into that in a minute. How would the lawyer really know? But we're going to get into the lawyer stuff in a minute. Lawyer could be bluffing. Okay, I've been similar. Keys. It's all right in this direction. Bluffing. Oh, what the hell's happened? Someone just thanked me for my. Oh, hang on. Just scroll down. I've missed all the bloody questions. Here we go. Has a wallet ever been broken? For sure. I mean, brain wallets, for those who really like taking risks, there's a thing called brain wallet. And what that is you think of a phrase or word, and you use that as the basis, as the seed for your wallet. So, I could write down, my name is Jimmy Young Lose. That would be my private phrase. So all I have to do is remember my name is Jimmy Young Lose, and that gives me access to all my Bitcoin. But brain wallets are the most stupid and dangerous thing, but also the most secure thing, because if you think about, you could literally pass through a border naked, no wallets, no hardware wallets, no pieces of paper hidden in your pockets, nothing. All you've got is just my name is Jimmy and Lose in your brain, and that's all you need. That's why it's called a brain wallet. You get to the other side and go and remember your phrase and use it, and then you just sent however much money you want physically with you from one place in the world to another place. But obviously the problem is people are notoriously stupid when it comes to passwords, when it comes to phrases. So you could write Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds because you love the Beatles. That could be your phrase. But the problem is these attacks can be done offline. And if anybody ever thinks to try the phrase Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds against any wallet, then they've just basically stolen your Bitcoin. So what happens is you're trying to think of phrases. You cannot use any phrase that's ever been written in human history. And of course you cannot then start writing that phrase anywhere, because that'll be in Google. And how would you remember it? I mean, it's not your favorite song. Could you say Diamonds in the Sky with Lucy? I mean, now I've just said that on this screen. Who knows in the future if Google will publish a transcript of this screen. I'm sure they will. And that will be in a Google search, and that will be in a database for somebody to try it as a Bitcoin password, Diamonds in the Sky with Lucy, So people say changing it. It's really complicated. The best way would be to literally have like secure passwords, maybe 20 characters of upper and lowercase characters mixed with numbers and symbols. But how the hell are you going to remember that in your brain unless you've got a very good brain at remembering stuff like that? So brain wallets, if you're a noob, if you're medium level, unless you're high level tech and you know the risks, do not touch brain wallets, because that's how wallets have been stolen, and a lot of money has been stolen from people with dumb brain wallet passwords. Okay. Shadowband, I guess he's saying he's a bit annoyed with Craig, but he's his own man. He also says he should definitely stop predictions. Carboncraft says maybe he does it to create attention. Maybe. Elliot says everything he says comes true. He is usually off with his timing. Okay, yeah, well, we'll see. But how long will people wait? How much patience do people have? I mean, 10 years? I don't think so. Because all the time that people are waiting, that means waiting for something definitive. That means, I guess, depending on what side of the camp you are, waiting for legal proof, saying, yeah, legally Craig is Satoshi, and I mean from a respected court, not from a banana republic, or for a simple crypto proof. How long are people willing to wait for these things? Because all the time that they're not happening, all the time that it's all in the air, Craig does provide a benefit to Bitcoin, but also there's a negative as well, because a lot of people don't want to get involved with Bitcoin, that's in BSV, because they think Craig fake Toshi, or they think they don't know if he's fake Toshi or not. They don't know what's going to happen with the price. They don't know, and that's why people say just concentrate on the tech, just build. But of course, there must be companies and stuff as well who don't want to get involved because of this whole thing up in the air. So let's not all pretend that everyone's just happy to go and build, or everyone's just happy because of the tech. Because if it was that way, then why isn't Craig should leave? Craig should leave Bitcoin. Doesn't matter if he's fake Toshi or Craig Toshi or whatever, and then we could be independent, But right now, he's helping us and he's hurting us, if you like, you know. And the longer it goes on without any definitive proof of anything, whether legal or crypto or otherwise, the ratio, I think, of helping to hurting is going to get more on the hurting side, you know. And of course, if he does prove that, you know, I'm Satoshi in the court or with the keys, then of course he's 100% helping us, you know. But you know, it's all about balances, and it's all about how long can this go on, you know, because also you've got to think, unless we seriously start making progress as a coin, we've got this halvening this year, but then in 4 years there's another halvening, you know. So I think it was Craig himself who said, you know, we've got like 20 years to fix this, and there's probably a 10% chance that we can do it. And that is like imagining that Bitcoin is in BSV, is the best coin out there with the best tech, the smartest people to do things and the smartest ideas. If we've got a 10% chance, imagine the chance that BTC or Bcash or whatever has got with their problems, whether it's tech problems, scaling problems, funding problems, you know, it's a hell of a lot lower. So, you know, it's like I said, you know, we even need, you know, there'll become a point where if Craig hasn't done anything, then we need to get the monkey off our backs, to put it bluntly, I'm guessing. Otherwise, you know, we're never going to be taken seriously by everybody, you know, whether we've got the best tech, whether we've got projects or not, because we're not going to get all the people on board. You know, you need the support of the masses of the people to go anywhere, you know. A load of people are flooding out because of everything that's all this crypto drama. Okay. Okay. To add to the mystery, I'll provide that was something a joke I did. No, there's no prize because it's quite easy. The SHA-512 hash I did. I'll announce it later on Telegram where it was. Shadowban said it is a time bomb waiting to go off. Well, there is a whole, but that's not really a floor exploit that we've known about. The anyone can spend and the miners and the 51%. We've known about that all the time. So that is nothing new that Craig's coming. We're expected that Craig saying his fatal segwit floor would be some sort of new information, but we haven't seen anything about that yet. Okay, Spartan Pro, any thoughts on the Decrypt article on Craig's lawyers claiming he doesn't have private keys? I'll be getting to the lawyer stuff once I've gone through all the trial box. So if you all want to hear about the lawyer stuff, stop asking me questions in the trial box. I want to answer the questions first. Segwit, people say it's yeah, that's right. Segwit P2SH, that's pay to script hash, creates the possibility for invalid blocks to go deep into the chain unnoticed, undetected by miners. That was something I think that Peter Todd wrote about. So again, that would not be a fatal flaw, something new by Craig. Craig was announcing what this fatal flaw was as something new you would assume that he had found or he had investigated. So, you know, a lot of these things, they work as well in theory. One thing is to have a thing in practice. And Craig clearly did state the end of 2009, BTC will be dead due to this segwit flaw, and that hasn't happened. So it's something that you want to see in practice. Otherwise, you know, anyone can invent a flaw. You know, you can say, you know, the whole 51% attack thing on Bitcoin, it's never happened. Bitcoin Cash, it sort of happened because they kind of like attack themselves to stop somebody stealing or something like that. But it hasn't really happened. Until it happens, it's just in theory, even though everyone knows that the theory can be correct. But we really are we were looking for 2009 BTC not to exist anymore, not just a theoretical attack. Dario says, you missed my question above, Jimmy. Go on, Dario, ask me it again. I'll get to it in a minute. Okay, I'm going to miss some things which are not really questions. Okay, Shadowband, I know you don't really talk about price. However, BSV, call off price, question mark. Genesis will boom, new ATH, question mark. I haven't got a clue, to be honest. I mean, I know an ATH would instantly happen if Craig started up his Twitter account again and signed something from the Genesis blog. I think we'd moon to hell, but for whatever, Craig doesn't want to do that because he wants to go this whole Apparently he wants to go this whole legal route first. Of course, legally, of course, if they got this guy Satoshi, I think that'd be unfair because maybe some court insiders would know this first, so they'd probably jump in. But it was Moon as well. Genesis upgrade, traditionally upgrades and stuff, a good news. Sorry, but recently I've not really seen that happening. Because the whole of before they used to do a lot with the market especially because people used to get confused, like with what a hard fork means, thinking free money, because we had the original BTC, Bcash hard fork, where it was literally free money because it's split into two coins. But these days, a hard fork, whether it's on Bcash or Bitcoin SV, is the old coin, if you like, dies and the new one carries on. So it's good news in a way that Shadows. I mean, I have said I'm disappointed with Craig and his promises. Contrary view with Shadows and Connolly and the N-Chain development team, it seems that all their promises, all the things they've told us they're going to do, they've done it. Their proof of work is there. We've now got the Genesis version 1 release client, not the beta client. The release client is there. So when the Genesis upgrade happens, the miners can run it now. The miners have got 18th of January, so the miners have got 17 days, 16 days to upgrade their software. So they probably want to do it as early as possible, so they can take any downtime. Maybe they had some planned downtime during the next 2 weeks, for instance. Shut it down, put the new node on there, run that, and they're prepared. They don't have to do anything then. When the hard fork happens, on the third, third is the hard fork, fourth is the coin group, right? When the hard fork happens next month, that's it. Their software is just going to roll over with the hard fork because it's prepared. And before they might have even been testing with the beta versions, but now you should not be running a beta version of the node. You should be running a version 1 release version. Okay. So all-time high because of Genesis. I've got no bloody idea. I mean, right now, the last time I looked, it looked like with all the fragments spread around, it looked like we might reach an all-time low. Who knows? And also, whatever you think is going to happen, just because crypto scambling, the scamming exchanges are so fucking retarded, full of idiots and so much bullshit. Even good news that should see any coin, because all coins get good news sometimes. Even good news that in any sort of rational market would see any coin go up. Sometimes it just goes down, or sometimes it goes sideways. It's like, are people reading the news? Are people trading against the news? What the hell's going on? And eventually you just realize that this whole thing really is, most of the time, not having a fucking idea what's going to happen, which probably explains why there's a hell of a lot of TA in the space, technical analysis, people looking at Elliott waves and all this stuff, trying to work out from the point of view of the psyche of people trading, and all the bots trading, and everyone, of course, else believing in TA and all this stuff, kind of like makes a feedback loop where these things happen because everybody else believes that they're going to happen. You see the support and resistance and all this stuff and all these complicated things, and sometimes it's like, what's going on here? Where if you look at a traditional market, if Ford has made twice as many cars, have announced they've made twice as many cars this year than last year, then it's pretty obvious that the price of Ford, if it hasn't already shot up because of what insiders know, or because people who have been following, basically maybe they work in a car dealership and they've seen that, we're selling a hell of a lot more new Fords this year, and then the Ford share price would shoot up, would go up, and it'd probably just go up even more on the news of it happening, but really there doesn't really seem to be any fundamental analysis at all in crypto, because if there was, to be honest, I think there'd only be like one coin, and that would be Bitcoin, BSV. Everyone would say, well, the other coins ain't worth shit because they don't scale, or they've got other sorts of problems and issues of being centralized, or who's controlling them, or how many people have pre-mined coins and all this stuff, with scammers involved. David says, thank you, Jimmy, for your hard work and putting yourself out here. It means a lot to me. Well, if you like my work, Jimmy N. Lewis at moneybutton.com. You can send me BSV, donate to me. It'll be much appreciated. Every little helps. Do you have a theory on how BSV? Oh, this is an interesting question. Do you have a theory on how BSV will be able to remove EDA? Well, firstly, we already have removed the EDA. We're actually now the DAA. The EDA was the first emergency difficulty algorithm, which happened when Bitcoin Cash forked from Bitcoin. Basically, they needed to make the difficulty drop. They didn't know what. It would have been very risky to hard code a difficulty level in there because that could have been gained. So what they did, they made it so that I think it was after every 3 blocks, and it's something to do with time and block numbers, the difficulty would drop. And eventually it would find a new difficulty level where the miners could jump on. But that was heavily gained by miners. It had quite a few flaws. If you think what you see now on Bcash and sometimes on BSV with miners mining a lot more than 6 blocks in an hour is crazy. You should have been there back in 2017 when there was a block appearing every 5 seconds on Bcash. It was going really crazy, yeah. And then you get a space of 8 hours without a block. So that was the EDA, the emergency difficulty algorithm. So what they did, they changed that. They changed it to what's called the DAA, the difficulty adjustment algorithm. I don't know. It was called something else. So he's asking, do I have a theory on how they're going to remove that? When that time comes, obvious such update will not be possible before death of BTC and BCH. I can't see how it could be removed with ease. It's interesting because well, it can be removed any time. From a technical level, it just requires a hard fork. And Shadows has already said that despite the earlier narratives, which thankfully I'm not really seeing now, people were saying, oh, Genesis, set in stone, this is going to be the last hard fork. Well, it's not. There's going to be 1 or 2 hard forks to come, but mainly for minor things. And you would probably class this as a minor thing. Yeah, I certainly think there is the argument there's going to be a hell of a really risky save. You know, if with this Genesis upgrade, we change back to the DAA. But to be honest, it really is a complicated game theory thing because, you know, now our level has dropped. So it's not the same as just saying back in the day when Bitcoin Cash forked off from BTC, keep the same difficulty algorithm, because what would have probably happened, well, I've got my own theories here, they hadn't done replay protection, if they'd kept it all the same, I think Bitcoin Cash could have won that hard fork. BTC might not have existed anymore, but they did the replay protection, which makes me ask, was it kind of like a false opposition, planned, false flag, to make it look like it was a big blocker alternative to BTC? Purposely designed not to be, to allow BTC to continue. Who knows? But if they had used the same difficulty algorithm, what could have happened is no miner could have ever got a block, because if you'd have had 1% of the miners moving over to try and mine Bitcoin Cash, then it could have taken like 1% would be a lot to try and thinking that these are businesses that depend on it. A lot to take a risk on some coin that everyone was saying was going to have a value of 0 within 24 hours, which nobody really knew, because this was really the first ever contentious hard fork, which means, it's not a hard fork like what's coming with Genesis, where all the miners are like, yeah, let's upgrade, which means get rid of the old version, we're on the new version. Contentious means, this is war, we're splitting. And we've seen the first case was no, actually the first one really was Ethereum, an Ethereum Classic, if you like. They split with a contentious hard fork. But then you have Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, and then of course Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin SV. So To be honest, I'm not really sure if tomorrow we changed and had the original difficulty album. It probably could be gamed in bad ways where you have people screwing around with it. The nice way would be, obviously, yeah, if we wiped out BTC and BCH, we were the only coin using that hashing equipment, then yeah, we could use that. Or, BTC now is 95% or whatever, it's got a hash rate of the ASIC mining equipment, which can be used for any of the free coins. BTC seems to be getting on okay with the original algorithm. So you could argue, okay, well, let's wait until 51%. If we've got 51% of the hash and BTC's got 49, yeah, but I don't think it's going to happen like that. I think as soon as we get above 10% of hash, then the drop of BTC is going to be like from 90% to 5% or 0%. There's not going to be like a play out at 50-50 up and down as people are deciding which one is the real Bitcoin. We get to that point, as soon as the market, and the same thing's going to happen with the price. It's not going to be like this. Which one are we? Like maybe you could argue this is happening now with BSV and BCH on the exchanges. We flipped. When we flipped the other day, we actually flipped like 6 times, and we had like a half a day or a day that we was leading them on the price, on the market cap, and then they flipped back, and we flipped again, and they flipped back again, and they're leading us, and they've got quite a lead now. That is not going to happen with BTC, because as soon as we get up to that level against BTC with hash or with price, then it's just a question of if we keep catching up and they keep dropping, it's just going to get more bigger and compounded, because that means the game is up. That means that, okay, this is Bitcoin and BTC is BTC, it's a SegWit coin. So that's the scenario that I would see. So any point where you could say, okay, it's happening, you could do it, but you might as well just wait until you're majority hash and then go back to the original DAA, which is better. Maybe I should make a whole show about mining and DAA and the future of mining, which is when mining equipment will not be turned on all the time, and where in situations like Christmas Eve, heavy shopping period, you might see more than 144 blocks a day, and Christmas Day you might see 4 blocks a day on Christmas Day. Saturdays and Sundays as well, it might be different compared to Mondays to Fridays. Thinking about as well about when it's Friday in the UK, it's Saturday in Australia. So there are some things and some patterns and some stuff that make sense, all about mining equipment, and not only turning it on and off, but turning some of them on, some of them off. Craig has spoken about this a bit. How you don't, how it all works out, especially when there is no block reward, especially when the miners only earn from transactions. So this is a whole topic in itself, which is very, very interesting, which maybe I should get into one day. Okay, the Bitcoin technology works properly again because Craig is Satoshi. Regardless, BSV is Bitcoin working properly again. Yeah, in most cases, you could say that, yeah, it's working well. Don't lose your head, Jim Jam, says Mr. Squids. Thank you, Mr. Squids. But as I understand it, it's literally impossible to break an Electrum wallet, so we shouldn't be worried, even though we have a lot of BSV in that wallet. Yeah, be careful though be careful, I guess, with cell phones as well. I mean, with paper wallets, the advice is always, you want to be really secure, always do it from a live Linux CD. They call them CDs, but a USB drive with a live Linux. You want to be really secure, go and spend a lot of money comparatively and try and find one. I think on Amazon you can find them read-only USB drives. And then you go, you'd be even crazy and think, well, what are the NSAs in my computer? And they found a way to bypass the read-only, but read-only USB drives are great. Use that with a live Linux system on it. Don't connect to the internet and do your paper wallet there. Because you could really got the problem where if you use an Electrum on your computer to make it to do any of this stuff, or you're using a cell phone wallet, how do you know that you haven't got some sort of weird virus or spyware, or the NSA itself isn't connected to your cell phone and watching what you're doing? There's always a big risk there. And you could go really crazy and put yourself inside a Faraday cage, which is the idea, it's a cage where electrical signals can get in or leak out. I mean, again, it's all about risk and reward, isn't it? If you're hiding one Bitcoin, you don't need to make as many precautions as if you're hiding 10,000 Bitcoin. Especially considering if you think the price is going to be worth $100,000, which is a quote that Craig I think said it's going to be $100,000 in the future. You've got 10,000 of them, that's quite a lot of money. But it's all risk and reward. It's all, if you're not tech savvy, then you might think, well, I want to ask a tech friend. How much do you trust your friend? I mean, you can have the best tech friend in the world who does the best thing helping you, but he could, when you're not looking, or because you don't know what he's doing, he could have copied your keys. So again, it's very interesting. And I understand the concerns of non-tech people. So I think maybe, who knows, maybe I'll make a video about how to do it for noobs. But then the problem is, if everybody does something the same way, then it's also, again, it's dangerous. Imagine, it really is. Some things that Craig says make sense, like the idea of being able to use courts and stuff. If you've proven that you own money, to be able to get it back if somebody steals it from you, because it really is hard trying to manage Bitcoin and trying to keep hold of your Bitcoin for a new user, for a user who's not technical. That's a problem. You've got to remember, for every user that's had money stolen from them, especially in the early days, there's probably 1,000 users who have lost money because they lost the keys. So these things are being cleaned up. Things are getting easier. I mean, I remember back in the days when you didn't even have the idea of seed words. That was something that came in later. There's a lot of new things happening, but it boils down to, do you trust you or do you trust somebody else? Educate yourself, I guess, is the best bet. Try and learn and try and educate yourself, because at the end of the day, it is your money. It's yours, maybe your idea of a life savings or your retirement fund. So definitely worth investigating and learning by listening to shows and speaking to people and trying to find out the best way to store your money. Okay, so there we are at the bottom of the stream. I'm going to find my my hand cash. What I'm actually going to do, before I get into the Craig stuff, I'm going to wait for a few more questions. I'm going to, excuse me everybody, I'm going to enjoy a cigarette, so I'm going to mute the screen. I'll be back in a minute. Any questions? I don't want to be smoking on my channel. Any questions? Fire away. We're going to go back with the questions. And then this is where I'd normally pay my graphic designer to throw me up some titles and an interlude clip. But unfortunately, he was sick today, so he's not here. So I'm having to do it all with a piece of paper. Just a YouTube stream. Any questions, fire away. If not, once in 2-3 minutes, I'll be back with the other thing, the other title of this stream, which was all to do with what do I call it again? Craig Wright is trying to convince us all that he's fake Toshi. So stay tuned. I'm coming back. Vape, Jimmy Vape. Yeah, they say vaping's bad as well these days. Please make a video about installing Electrum SV on Linux and the USB option. Yeah, could do that. What about somebody making a live CD that comes with Electrum SV? But how would you trust them? How would you trust it hasn't got a backdoor? So many things that seem simple but then get complicated. And of course, these days you've got viruses that live in the it's called the SMC. It used to be called the BIOS, but these days they call it something else because it's a lot more complicated. And, you know, you can't even trust a Linux installation these days if you are a high-value target. And of course, there's always the old somebody standing behind you, or who knows, if you've got your back to a window, somebody with a telescope or whatever watching your screen. How paranoid do you want to get? Simply cache on an old air-gapped phone is so easy. Yeah, providing you're sure that it's always going to be air-gapped. Providing you're sure that even though it says Wi-Fi turned off, the Chinese or the Americans haven't hacked it to connect the Wi-Fi when you don't know. I mean, wrap it with foil. Yeah, you could wrap the cell phone with foil. You know, it's all a game. It's all about how paranoid you are and how much you're willing to store, and I guess by how much dope you've smoked, which probably relates to how paranoid you might be. You know, it's always worth asking questions and thinking, you know, extreme security. It's better to be on the extreme side than the light side. Let's carry on. I'm just finishing this cigarette and I'll be back. Security is a risk function. Yeah. Who knows what the hell I'm going to do if I have to go for a toilet break. The joys of live streaming on a super low budget without any plans for making a live show. And this is me just ultimately just fucking around and being a voice just to do it. Of course, you could argue if you're paranoid that I am actually funded. I'm paid $1 million a year by Calvin Ayre, and this is all an operation to make it look like I really am an amateur streamer supported by nobody but a few dings and dongs donations. And this would be how I would do it actually if I was some big billionaire trying to make somebody look totally independent in the space. I would probably say to them, hey, do a shitty show, hold a piece of paper to the screen, pretend that you're running on a shitty laptop with no microphone, go and do stupid things like smoke on air, hide in the camera, you know, just make yourself look as unprofessional as possible. But, you know, people are more likely to believe the stuff that you're saying. So, you know, that's what I would do. I wouldn't have fancy logos and flashy graphics and presentations and stuff. I'd do it this way. But, you know, I understand those other things get more viewers, and I couldn't really care about viewers, to be honest. As long as some people see it and spread the message, or the message is there at a later date to be back referenced to, then I'm happy. Okay, so I should be back again now. Here I am. Hello. Okay, let me fire up my Telegram. I'm going to have a look because I've got all the links sort of there. Oh, somebody just sent me a message, and I've just replied to them. Negative news, something about something that I was doing, which I won't go into. Okay, where the hell was my... Okay, so there's a few things which I'm kind of confused about, because we've had this article that came out from, I'll put it into the trial box now, from, let me just find it again, I'll open it up, from Decrypt. Okay, apparently it's even better, so good, I'm happy about that then. From decrypt.co, saying that, I want to get the quote exact here, I don't want to misquote it. I'm going to throw it into the troll box now so you can all read along with me. What the hell is going on with my internet? I think their site's actually slow, because it took a while to load earlier. That's in a few seconds. You know, I'm a bit impatient, because probably they're getting a hell of a lot of hits. Bah, that's the wrong one. So that was the one about his lawsuit. Hang on, let me find the other one. Come on. Damn machine. There you go. This is the one. It'd be nice to have that streaming software set up so I could share the screen, but hey, you know, I'm paid to pretend to be low budget, so I don't do that. Craig, the title is confirmed. Craig Wright doesn't have keys to $8 billion of Bitcoin. Now we all know, we should know these days not to just go by article titles. That's the link shared in the troll box for those who haven't seen this news yet. So let's get down into the details of the document. And the subtitle is Craig Wright's lawyer says he didn't receive the private keys to $8 billion worth of Bitcoin and provides an update on the Dave Kleinman court case. Now, one interesting thing just before from that is he's saying, this article is saying that Craig Wright's lawyer said something to them. They reached out to him or he reached out to them. So really you've got to think this article, unlike a lot of articles, hasn't just been pulled out of somebody's arse. Because surely if you were a lawyer and somebody was saying that you said this or you said that and you didn't, then you would sue. It'd be a nice, easy sue. You wouldn't have to pay legal fees. It'd just be something you could do in your spare time because you're a lawyer, and you could say, hey, you know, give me some money because I'm going to sue your ass off by saying that I said something when I never even spoke to you, or you misquoted me and I actually recorded the conversation that we had. Give me money. And lawyers love money, so I don't think that this is just some article from nowhere that somebody's made up. So Craig Wright's lawyer confirmed to the Crypt today that Wright does not possess, nor even claim to possess, the private keys that can be used to spend $8 billion of Bitcoin that Satoshi Nakamoto mined in Bitcoin's early days. And here we go. Wright had previously said under oath that an encrypted file exists containing both the list of public addresses and private keys. Many took that to mean when a courier arrived Tuesday with a file that at last Wright had received the private keys. But his lawyer said today that was not the case. The file that he's received did not include private keys. Andres Rivero, partner at Rivero Maestri law firm, told the Crypt. However, Wright still expects that he will receive the keys at a later date. Rivero said the keys may come either whole or split into parts, but declined to discuss further the particulars around who has the keys and when they might arrive. Okay. Now we go back to an earlier article from CoinGeek, which I'm going to post now in the troll box. So why did I hit Telegram? Someone's saying it's FOMO. The CoinGeek article has Craig saying, as I've explained in court proceedings, I believe I will receive information in January 2020 that will enable us to identify coins I mined into my companies in 2009 and 2010. So we are speaking early Satoshi blocks, but cannot be certain that all of that information will in fact arrive. This is where things start to get a bit cloudy for me. I have not said the private keys to those coins will become available, or if so, actually used in January 2020. In the next few weeks, we'll be holding trust meetings and working out the next steps going forward in 2020. Now, this is from a CoinGeek article saying Craig Wright sets the record straight again on Tulip Trust. So now we're going to go into the problem here, because the problem that I see is that if you go back and look at the court documents, I've only got a screenshot of this, but I do remember reading this. I'm not going to be able to share the screenshot. I'm just going to read you the screenshot when I find it. This is what, some of it's blacked out, but this is basically what he said in court. He signed a sworn declaration in London on May the 8th, 2019. You can probably Google this and find it. Maybe it's on Court Listener on filed May 8th, 2019, or a few days after. But he basically says access to the point 23, which is right at the end of the document, access to the encrypted file that contains the public addresses and their associated private keys to the Bitcoin that I mined requires myself and a combination of trustees referenced in Tulip Trust to unlock based on Shamir scheme. Now, Shamir scheme, what that is it's like if you think of say you've got a password protected zip file. Shamir scheme is a way of allowing you to say, okay, well, this is actually going to have multiple passwords, if you like, and to be able to decrypt it, you need 4 out of 5 of these passwords. Any 4 out of the 5. So if you share the password with 5 different people, say in a trust, if one of them dies, then provided you can get hold of the other 4, then it's okay. You can still decrypt it. Now you might use 2 out of 4. You might use 5 out of 10. You might use 6 out of 10. I mean, maybe whatever. There isn't really that much details. He does mention names. I'm not really counting it, but the idea is that he said the encrypted file. He said encrypted file. Now we all know that whether you're using WinZip with encrypted files or whether you're using some secret Shamir scheme, if you've got an encrypted file, there's no plural there, then you either decrypt it and you get access to it all, or you don't decrypt it. So how has the narrative changed now to be that, yes, the courier has arrived, but which we all presume means the encrypted file, the keys for the encrypted file, which it's probably always had, or it came with, I don't know, there's so many different things that we hear, and then later they change. Now, whether we heard the correct thing or not, I mean, I guess you have to go back to the source documents. I don't really have time right now. I'd have to go back and look for every single court transcript and just base everything that I'm saying on what I've read in court documents. Maybe somebody else could do that, someone with a lot of time, somebody who's legal, who's skilled legally. But, the thing that bothers me is why has the narrative changed, and why is it that this encrypted file was going to have the private keys and the public keys, the public addresses, to be more correct, and why is it now we've just got the public keys? So does this mean that Craig's lawyer is a liar? Can I say that? Will I be sued for libel by this lawyer? Did he lie to the guy saying, yeah, he hasn't got the keys? Maybe. Does it mean Craig's a liar? I mean, if you look at the what he said in court, in that what's it called? Just to use the correct terms, I don't want to say anything wrong. The sworn declaration signed in London on May the 8th, 2019, but what he's saying now about what he's actually got with the courier, does that mean that Craig's a liar? Can I say that? Well, does that mean McCormack's going to win? Because he's going to say, yeah, Craig is a liar. Because a lot of people are seeing this as perjury. Because what he said in court doesn't match what he's saying now, unless we're all confused. Which again is why I entitled this screen, this live stream, Craig Wright's trying to convince us all he's fake Toshi. Because I don't really see what's going on here. I mean, maybe I'm just not a higher level chess player as Craig Wright is, but it's certainly confusing me, just looking at the basic facts and the basic things and how things are kind of like changing and how nobody's calling it out and how everything's like, Craig is Satoshi, it's okay. I'm of the opinion now, I'm more of the opinion now that Craig is Satoshi and this is some bad acid trip that I'm caught in. Or this is some sort of reality split has happened and all these weird things are happening. because I always believed that Craig is Satoshi, but to be honest, I've got no idea what is going on here. Legally, I've got no idea. I always thought if you lie in court under oath, especially, you're going to get busted. You're going to get sanctioned for that at least, or you're going to get fined, or you're going to get time in jail. So I'm interested to see what happens now with. Because to be honest, I always used to think that the courier didn't exist. I used to think that the courier was just Craig always had the keys, and the courier was just like a story to buy time for whatever reason. But now they've actually got clients and lawyers. I've got like an order accepted by the judge. They're going to be able to ask, I can't remember if it's 7 questions or 10 questions or whatever about the courier. So obviously your first question is probably going to be, who is the courier? And then from there, or I think is it questions about the courier or questions they can ask the courier. So if this courier doesn't exist, then that's a massive shithole that's being opened, shall we say? And yeah, Carbon Craft says there, it's hard to know what exactly is going on. Yeah, exactly. And it's almost like he wants the look what's happening now with the price. I've not looked. I don't normally speak about price. Nothing I say is financial advice, but I'm not going to open the price. I imagine it's dropped. I've heard that it's dropped. Hang on, I can use my little bot. Let's see what my bot says is up to the price. Coin market cap / rank, and it's going to tell me 248.37. Okay, yeah. In 1 hour, it's dropped 4.43%. So it's dropping to the shit. We're now below Tether, just above Litecoin. Are we going to go back down again to where we were before? What the hell's happening with Bcash? BCH, the last BCH is dropping at least as well. It's not all bad news for us, but look at that. Hang on, rank BCH, what is the, I want to see the difference on the market cap. Market cap of Bitcoin Cash, 6.2 billion. Market cap of BSV, 4.5. So that's quite a 1.7 billion lead that Bitcoin Cash has got there. We're dropping to the shit right now, to be honest, folks. Okay, we're not at $80 like we were a week or so ago. But we're dropping really bad. Is this Craig trying to get all the people who don't believe him, who don't trust him till the end, until he proves it, out of the market? He's just trying to confuse people like me who have stood by Craig a hell of a lot, but are now saying, like, hang about, what's going on here? What's going on? Do we hodl? Do we dump? Do we try and buy the dip? Or what the hell do we do? Or do we just build, as the big narrative is? Who knows? Who knows what the price is going to be in 10 minutes, let alone tomorrow? Some people are thinking maybe it's going to go up again. Some people, I guess, are thinking it's going to keep dumping. Because if you look at a dump, by the way, any new traders, even this happened the same on the infamous BitConnect. When BitConnect crashed, it wasn't like this was the line, bang. If you look at it on a 1-day chart, yeah, it looks like that. That's what happened. But if you actually look, this is the line, down, up, down, up, down, up. And you can see a sort of similar things happening now on Bitcoin SV, not to such an extreme, obviously. A bit of horizontal movement as well. But no dump ever happens like that. It's not as extreme as a pump, because a pump really can, I say pump and dump, I'm not being like a rise in price, shall we say, because I don't want to say it's a pump and dump and make it sound like, so they'll use my words against me and say I'm saying that Bitcoin is a pump and Bitcoin SV is a pump and dump scam or whatever. No, but I'm using these terms just to explain a high price rise. A high price rise, yeah, it can happen like that as well, but generally when it happens quickly, that's what makes it rise even higher, because everyone else sees it happening really quickly as well, you know what I mean? So, and then of course the argument is, whenever something rises like that, it has to fall. There's no way it can keep going up and up and up crazily like that. Maybe it could do if Craig come out and said, look, I'm Satoshi, here I am. This is my private keys, I've won the court. Maybe that could make it go up really, really high past BTC and not fall down, or shoot up 10 times the price of BTC and then fall down, but still be much higher than BTC. I mean, it could shoot up to $100,000 and fall back down to 20. I'd be happy with that. I think that we all would, as long as we didn't buy above, say, 10,000 or whatever. I forgot what I was going to say now, sorry. I'm not really an expert on trading on the markets. What I do know is that don't trade the news. The news, don't try and trade it. But you can see here that we are an exception in this whole Craig news. People say Craig doesn't matter. It's all about the tech. It is all about the tech. It should be all about the tech. But if it was all about the tech, then we wouldn't have Craig and we wouldn't need Craig. And we're probably doing a lot better, which is what I said earlier. But if Craig is Satoshi, then of course he won't on our team. Of course it would be rude and horrible of us to say, bugger off, Craig. But how long can it go on without any court proof or crypto proof that he is Satoshi? Because I've never said 100% that Craig is Satoshi. I think I used to say I'm 99% sure he is. Because I only sifted in absolutes, and he's just being the guy who most fits the shoes. But the more we learn about the world, the more, like, you look at this whole Epstein thing, for example. Who's to say? Who's to say? This could be some massive deep state thing, and the real Satoshi was killed and tortured to reveal special information, and Craig was the best guy they found to play Satoshi and feed him some of this information that we all thought, wow, must be Satoshi to know that. Who knows? Anything can happen. So I wouldn't bet my life on Craig being Satoshi right now. 99% sure. I don't know. It's like I'm saying, this stream, it's like he's trying to convince us all that he's fake Toshi. Why would you do that unless you was absolutely stupid? I mean, who knows? So yeah, any questions? 1 hour, 52 minutes now. The stream's been going. I'm getting a bit tired. So my Hillary Clinton moment never fly on my head. So anybody else, any questions, I'll try and answer them. Otherwise, I'm going to be cutting the stream and bidding goodbye to everybody. Please hit the like button below, or the dislike button if you dislike what I'm saying. Subscribe or unsubscribe. Donate. JimmyandLouis@moneybutton.com. You can find me on Telegram. If you want to send me some hate mail or send me some love, whatever. Some people I realise in BSV might not be happy. Me making a stream like this. At least I hope that the first part of the stream, like the hour and a half I dedicated to answering questions, was useful. That's kind of like my apologies if I've offended anybody, just by questioning a little bit this whole Craig Toshi, fake Toshi thing. Always trying to be open and transparent and not trying to hide things. So not trying to follow just good narratives that make us all a happy space. Follow wherever my nose smells bullshit or smells flowers. That's where I try and go, So yeah, I think really we are getting to the end of the stream now. Let me just see any comments. So yeah, it's basically people are thinking like it could be the ultimate game of chicken, shall we say, where people will get freaked out. Oh no, you can't be Satoshi, or I don't know if it's Satoshi anymore, I'm dumping, I'm getting out. They're going to be shat on by some massive moon in the price. But of course, there is the other side where some people, due to cognitive dissonance, or due to just having too much in the game, might cling on to the end. So, never, ever, this is good advice for anybody, whatever coin, lose what you can't afford to lose. So never risk what you can't afford to lose. Because really now, this is like 47D chess now, where we're going with this. And if you're not a 47D chess player, then you can't really judge on what you're watching. I mean, KP Dad says, can't scare me away. I'm in it regardless. I'm in it for the tech. The tech is great on BSV. But all this other stuff is kind of like, it was an annoyance. It still is an annoyance, to be honest. I'd rather be having more articles written about Bitcoin than written about what's going on in core. But it was an annoyance, but it's also kind of like, what's the best word to use? I don't want to say scary. That's too scary and too fact. I'll be accused of spreading FUD. But it makes you question things, shall we say? And this court case, remember we were told, I don't know how long ago now, about 2 years ago, a year ago, that big words again from Craig, like his 1,200 end of year. I'm going to teach everybody about risk and law and finance and all this stuff. Well, all I see so far from the legal point of view is most of the it's mostly coming down against Craig. We'll see what happens with McCormack, because that'll be interesting. But the climbing thing as well is, I'm not a lawyer. I mean, maybe this, but lawyers a lot. I'm speaking with a lawyer who, a lot of the lawyers seem to be on the BTC side. Does that mean because they really are independent lawyers who have, I think most lawyers were on the BTC side anyway, who we're speaking to in crypto, because most people are on the BTC side, whether lawyer or not, because BTC is the massive market cap coin. So, the FUD is everywhere, folks. The FOMO is everywhere too. What can I say? I mean, to be honest, maybe if you don't know what the hell to do, go and, I don't know, get out or take 50% out or I don't know. I don't want to sound like a bringer of doom, but I'm just, I'm only spreading my thoughts and stuff, and I'd rather just see the tech, to be honest. I'd rather see nothing more written about Craig. So this whole court case thing, it's just kind of annoying, and it kind of gets in the way of the tech. It kind of gets in the way of my dream of seeing Bitcoin as a global currency that can actually change the world. So yeah, it's just my thoughts really. Who knows? Maybe tomorrow some article will come out or something will happen, and everything looks bright. Maybe there's something I've misunderstood somewhere, and somebody can correct me. But all I'm seeing is what looks like perjury in court, really. To be honest, certainly doesn't look good. And of course, if you now go and look, there's another link. I think it's Cointelegram. They're now picking up, because remember, this is how crypto shitter works. This is how the whole retarded crypto market works, and also really in real life, the fake news thing as well, or the news in general, fake or real. Now that Decrypt.co has written that, you've got a load of new articles now from people like Cointelegraph referencing that article, and then magically, just as they're saying that, Bitcoin SV holders have lost over 40% because it's dumping. No. Only those who bought in at the all-time high. So they deliberately use the all-time high we had on the 15th. Was it the 15th or the 16th? It's like a base point for when they imagine that people bought in. As to the price now, to deliberately choose 40%, because that's the worst number. That is the worst FUD they can do against us. You know what I mean? So be careful, because there is FUD out there. But going back to this original Decrypt article, and my point, if they've misquoted the lawyer, or the lawyer didn't even get in touch with them, then that's an easy sue for the lawyer, isn't it? It's an easy, because he's a lawyer, it's free for him to sue people, apart from maybe a $20 filing cost or whatever it costs. He doesn't have to pay for a lawyer, does he? Or if has to use somebody else. He's probably got his lawyer friend who does his lawyering, and he does his lawyering for his lawyer friend as favours, whatever. So, yeah, just be careful of FUD. Maybe I'm adding to the FUD. Who knows? I'm just trying to add to the truth out there and my opinions. So, yeah. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Jimmy and Louis at moneybutton.com. Subscribe, like, comment, whatever. Increase the peace. Have fun. Have a good weekend, everybody. Cheers.